Friday, the authority gave the operators 3 days to comply. Our reporter Zinzi Kibiku spent the day on the road and tells us the economic effect of the new rules.
We have seen them all. Passenger service vehicles at their best. Well, at least not according to safety regulators in the industry and TSA. According to the authority, the trendy Matatus that bear graffiti on their body, play loud music, and even fitted with plasma screens have literally crossed the safety line. Monday afternoon, the PSV drivers plying the Magadi Road next to the Catholic University Junction got a rude shock. The dragnet mounted by NTSA would not spare any of them. The safety authority officials, together with the traffic police, had started vetting the vehicles in an exercise that will last for the next few weeks.
The first one is to remove modified exhaust systems that were making noise and making it difficult for people walking along the road to continue with their work. 2 is graffiti that covers the glass section of the vehicle.
According to the NTSA Act Regulation 7, the letters of the circle should not be less than 10 inches and they should be of a color that is visible during the day from at least 275 meters. That same NTSA Act Regulation 2 talks about the innovative decoration. That's the graffitis, and that is one of the very many gazetted acts from 2014 that bus owners are not happy with.
While in areas such as Donholm roundabout, business for them was running smoothly. In Buruburu area, the atmosphere is different. We find Shem Windy, who has heard about the crackdown and has no other choice but to replace the Sako writings on his bus. He tells me his Matatu hasn't been on the road for the better part of the day.
Kwa saa hii naona nimesimama. Nikisai ningekuwa kazi. Obviously affect business yangu.
To many of the Sako operating managers such as Stephen Kimathi, this crackdown has come with financial constraints to the business, and while defending the graffiti and the rest of his vehicles at work.
It can cost one vehicle 100,000 shillings just to do the lighting system. The exhaust pipes, yes, we will remove, and we agree with the NTSA, we will remove. The pararira, which we call it pararira, the horns, we will remove.
Majority of the bus Sako drivers say the society has also influenced their business. Many young people would rather board a colorful, noisy bus, and for them that means profits. As for now, NTSA is yet to give an exact time frame of how long the crackdown will continue. Zinzi Kibiku, KTN News.
All right, here on Bottomline East Africa, we continue to keep an eye on the emerging food crisis in the East and Horn of Africa as a result of the El Nino weather phenomenon. Experts say the eastern part of Ethiopia as well as Somalia are worst hit by drought conditions, leaving 10.1 million people in need of food aid. KTN News reporter Ashley Mazuri with the story of the worst drought in 50 years.
Rwanda's local health center in the Afar region in Ethiopia, women are desperately queuing to have their sick children seen before it's too late. Drought in Ethiopia has been going on for months and is claimed to be the worst experience in half a decade. Selemawit, a mother of 5 with baby mothers who is being treated for malnutrition. Selemawit left her village to find a job at the local sugarcane factory in Menda, and her family have been hit hard by the drought, having lost almost all of their livestock and crops. She now works as a full-time laborer in a sugarcane factory to provide very basic food for her family.
I came to Menda Health Center for treatment and medicine for Madhir. She is here because she is sick with diarrhea and a fever, and she has just been screened for malnutrition.
Another local resident, Meron, has 4 children, including 1-year-old baby Thomas. Meron's family, especially her children, have been hit hard by the drought, having lost almost all of their livestock and crops.
He's improving slightly now, and he doesn't have diarrhea or fever anymore, but he is not gaining weight. I feel for my baby because he has these problems, and because of this, I am sad.
Save the Children works in over 60 affected districts in Ethiopia, providing food, water, medicine and crucial support to families who have lost their incomes, with immediate focus on increasing food aid, treating child malnutrition, water tracking, intervening to save livestock and crops where possible, and supporting families to keep their children in school through the crisis. The organization estimates that around 350,000 newborns are expected in the drought-affected communities between now and August, when the hunger season is expected to hit its peak. According to the aid agency, the international community needs to immediately increase funding towards the $1.4 billion drought appeal, which is less than one-third funded to date. Ashley Mazuri, KTN News.
You're watching Bottomline East Africa this Monday evening. We thank you for staying with us thus far. The hashtag is on your screen. It's hashtag BottomlineEA if you'd like to get in touch with us. At Yvonne Okwara on Twitter. You can also like the page at Yvonne Okwara on Facebook and leave us your comments there. We're taking a break, but we're coming back with some interesting news coming out of Rwanda. Are they now dealing with the new issue of radicalization? That is something Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania have been dealing with. But is this an emerging crisis in Rwanda? We'll be speaking about that just after the break. Stay with us. Still to come, on when at The Hague, lawyers for the former LRA commander begin their defense at the ICC.
This is KTN News.
So we think that there's still every likelihood that in the near term, as much as we can't say exactly where oil prices are going to settle, further out, by the end of this year, we're expecting the squeeze higher to have started. Over $50 a barrel, eventually targeting $75 a barrel. If China's slowing, is that going to be the end of African growth? We don't really think so. First of all, the value of that trade in 2015 was likely impacted by the fall in commodity prices. But we need to realize that across Africa there are varying trade dependencies on China. So for the likes of Kenya, less than 1% of its exports traditionally went to China. If China slows, really, how much is that reasonably going to change for the Kenyan economy? Even for Nigeria, yes, it's an oil producer, so at the margin the impact on oil prices does matter, but about 1.2% of its exports went to China. It is not correct to think that a China slowdown is going to be the ultimate determinant of African growth.
Tunakubaliana akili ndogo itawale akili kubwa. James Madison mwaka 1822 anasema knowledge forever will govern ignorance. Tumekubali bunge hili knowledge ndogo igovern knowledge. Tumekubali ignorance igovern knowledge. Tunalipeleka wapi taifa? Akichangia profesa hapa ana tofauti na mtu wa darasa la pili. Huwezi kutofautisha mtu mwenye masters na mtu wa darasa la pili. Where are we taking this nation? Watu wametupa kula, tunapoteza hela za Watanzania, tumekaa hapa, tunaacha kujadili mambo ya msingi, tunawezaje kutoka kwenye matope haya. Karne hiyo ya 18 nayo isema, walipoanza kuhoji, walipoanza kudadisi, ndipo mapinduzi ya viwanda yalivyojitokeza. No wonder watu wanaosema ni wataalamu wa uchumi wametufikisha hapa tulipo, if that is the case.
This is KTN News.
You're watching KTN News, where you get the whole story. Thank you for staying with us on Bottomline East Africa. Now, a Muslim cleric accused of seeking to recruit young men to join the Islamic State group, that's IS or ISIS, has been killed in Rwanda's capital, Kigali. Mohamed Mugemangango, deputy imam of the Kimiriromko Mosque in Kigali, was shot dead on Saturday night as he sought to escape police custody during an escorted visit to his home. He was under investigations for mentoring Rwandan youth into jihad and recruiting them to join Islamic State in Syria. Rwanda's Muslim community accounts for 2% of the population and maintains a low profile. There is no history of radicalization in that country and no known cases of Rwandans joining IS. However, the police statement said it believed the formation of terror networks, quote unquote, was underway. I just want to talk to Eugene Anangwe, who's our special correspondent in Kigali, Rwanda now. He joins us on phone. So let's just get some more perspective on this. Eugene, good evening and thanks for joining us. So who is this cleric? What do we know about him? How influential was he? What's his reputation?
Right, Yvonne, Mohammed was a deputy imam at a mosque in a place called Kimironko, and Kimironko is one of the suburbs in Kigali, but very little was known about him before his arrest and subsequent death. Not so influential in terms of what we expect in terms of, religious leaders being out there, speaking out on various issues of society. Very little actually was known about this Muslim cleric, even before he was arrested and later on killed. Before.
Okay, extremism is not something that has been reported in Rwanda or something that we believe or imagine is something Rwanda is dealing with at the moment. We know that is something that is prevalent in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania to some extent. Is this becoming a new issue or is this the first that it's coming out?
Mm-hmm. Well, indeed, this is the first report of its kind as far as allegations of radicalization of youth and recruitment into ISIS is concerned. But of course, as you say, with Kenya, Uganda facing the brunt of terrorism and extremism, Rwanda definitely should not, be at a comfort zone and say that this is something that should not concern us. The police here say that they have community policing to thank for a tip-off that actually saw Muhammad's arrest, and of course extremism definitely is being seen as an issue that should not just leave Rwanda as a concerned country, but put those in authority to strategize on how to nip in the bud as soon as possible any act that could deepen it here as well.
How has this death been received in Rwanda? Are we getting any reactions from different quarters? Are the Rwandan citizens shocked that, there was a cleric that was arrested on allegations of recruiting youth? Are we hearing anything? I know the Muslim population in Rwanda is quite small, but any reactions?
You see, the incident happened on Saturday, and that means that we only had one day in between before today when this information came out, to the public. So that means very little information is even out there to many people. But in terms of reactions from quarters out there about his death, there hasn't been, that much being talked about, apart from his close friends who've been going to the mosque with him, who have reportedly described him as a peace-loving Muslim. Surprisingly, in Nyamirambo, another suburb with the majority of the Muslim population here, there hasn't been any much coming out of there as far as reactions are concerned. I talked to one resident of Nyamirambo who said that we don't even know him much. He was from another suburb. We didn't even know more about him. So there's very little coming out there concerning this man, Mohammed.
Okay, thank you very much. Eugene Anangwe, who's our special correspondent in Kigali, Rwanda. Seems all is quiet so far, but this is something we'll be watching very keenly, particularly in Rwanda. Let's go to Burkina Faso now, where there have been arrests of 4 of 7 members of its dissolved presidential guard who were wanted in connection with an attack 2 days ago on an armory near the capital, Ouagadougou. Burkina Faso is still reeling from an attack by gunmen on a hotel and restaurant in January that was claimed by Islamist militants and during which 30 people were killed, most of them foreigners. The arrests came hours after the landlocked West African country's armed forces published the names and images of the guards who were on the run in local media. An army statement said another guard who had also fled died after a gun battle.